that's the theme song for the Swing Club, which we are not going to have right now because we have in the studio. Take a bite. You say it. You say it better than I do.
Take a bite out of crud.
My golly. Tony, it's good to have you here. And Deputy Bob, glad you're here.
It's great to be here, Dave. Thank you.
What you want to talk about first?
We have a school-based program running out of the Norfolk Sheriff's Office. It's called Choices. And we present an abstract program to children through the art of ventriloquism and puppetry to cause kids to think before they act. And we have various topics ranging from drug abuse, conflict without violence, stealing. And I have 3 dummies. I'm a ventriloquist. One of them is an inmate Joe, and Jeremiah, a student, is another one, and then a Deputy Matthew. And Tony, you've got a partner too. What's his name?
His name is McGruff, and he tells the children to stay away from drugs, and by doing that, he will be taking a bite out of crud.
How did I know that? Tony, you're a class act, I'll tell you. Oh, okay. Well, there's one thing. See, my first wife was in elementary school in special education, and she swore that it was better to get them young and correct whatever problems they had than to meet them headlong in, 10th, 11th, 12th grade. Do you find the same thing to be true?
Absolutely, Dave. The children need to know that they have choices. If you can reach them while they're young, there's a less likelihood that they'll need any repair work later on.
I believe that.
Well, one of the things that we're doing is we were talking to, say, junior high school and senior high school, and those kids, their minds are already made up. So Deputy Bob decided we'd get down there to pre-K, K, and catch them while they're young. And this way, we make an everlasting impression on them. And as they grow a little older, they realize what we're teaching them, and they stay away from drugs and guns and all that sort of thing. Right, Bob?
Right. A lot of the topics that we use, I've written from my corrections experiences of working inside the Norfolk jail. For example, courage. I've seen a lot of inmates that don't have any courage. They just quit on life. They don't have kindness. A lot of them are mean. A lot of them are violent. They've just made those bad choices their whole life. And so we use that to present these positive lessons to kids, kindergarten through 6th grade, so that they won't choose to make those bad choices, hopefully, and never come to the jail.
Get them early, huh?
Yeah, well, Bob, tell them about their last program we had here at Camp E.W. Young. We made a tape of some 50 or more youngsters, and they were real receptive to what we had to offer. Tell them about it, Bob.
That's right. We presented a lesson last week at Camp E.W. Young against stealing. And there's a problem with stealing in our society, as you know. Our jails are getting pretty full with people who steal to sell money, to get drugs and things like that. And these kids, we taught them stealing, and we tied the message of not stealing anything off their paper, doing honest work, as well as the other choices of stealing to use drugs and criminal behavior that can get them locked up in jail. In fact, we brought a sample of our performance that we brought there at Camp Young, and we edited it down. It was about 40 minutes. We knocked it down to about 14 minutes, so you can get a live picture of what we did. It's ventriloquism was made for radio, Tony?
Right. And Dave, let's get it going here and let the audience hear what we did last
I've got
week.
my finger on the button. Let's hear it.
Do you know what McGruff says? Let's hear it. I don't hear you. One more time. Thank you. I think you could hear that the whole way down to James Monroe School. Hey, who's this guy here?
How you doing there, Mr. Scaringella there? You too, dog?
Dog?
That's not a dog. It looks like a dog to me. It's not a cat.
You're right. I'm not a cat. I'm a dog. Right.
You know who that is, don't you? Yeah, I just said it's a dog.
The name is McGruff, and don't you forget it.
Oh, don't you forget I'm in there, Joe.
Well, I know that. Are you in jail?
And we know who the good-looking one is, right, kids?
Well, I don't know. What do you think? How about if we call it a tie? Not between Mr. Scaringella, but between the dog.
Yeah, McGruff.
You've got a nice looking nose, and he does, too.
Yeah, we're going to hear a little bit about that nose. Joe, why don't you tell the boys and girls what school was like when you were their age?
Well, when I was their age and I was in school, my friends, they told me to quit school. They said I was a fool. They're staying in school. So I quit. What do you think of that, McGruff?
Well, it was wrong for you to quit school.
Well, my friends, they said, "Hey, Joe, get out of there." So I said, "I'm out of here."
You quit school.
Yeah, that don't make sense. You mean get out of here? They wanted you to quit school?
Yeah, and of course they wanted my friends to like me and everything, so I did what they wanted me to do, and I quit.
You don't do what your friends, if they asked you to quit school, they're not your friends. And you shouldn't listen to them. But if your parents told you to quit school, hey, that's wrong. Something's wrong.
What did your parent or guardian say about you doing that, dropping out of school?
Well, they didn't like me dropping out of school. I mean, they tried to get me to stay in, but I did what I wanted to do, you know. On the night, Joe, I do what I want to do anytime I want to do it. How you like that?
I don't. McGruff don't like it either. Do you, McGruff? No, I don't like it.
Wow. So did they try to keep you in school?
Yeah, you know what they did to me, Daddy Dog?
What?
McGruff, you know what they did?
No, what did they do?
They took me on restriction. They grounded me. They thought that they could get me to do it their way. But I did it my own way. I did what I wanted to do, and then I did it my way, all right.
You did, huh? Well, where did it get you?
Well, since you asked, I might as well tell you what it did to me. I ran away from home. I didn't tell you that, did I?
No, you didn't. Let's hear about it.
Man, you quit school, you ran away from home? Man, that's two bad choices in a row. Oh, there's Nora.
Then I joined a gang. Tough man here.
Did you enjoy with the gang? And McGruff didn't want you to join a gang, but did you enjoy being with them?
Well, it's kind of a long story, McGruff.
What do you make it a short story? Let's hear it.
What'd you do, how did you make ends meet?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. See, after I quit school, I couldn't get a job, you know, because I couldn't read and write.
You could? Yeah, that's what I said. You can't read and write?
You an idiot?
Yeah, you an idiot?
No, do I look like an idiot? Hello?
Well, so, okay, you quit school, and why did you run away from home? I mean, what did you do that for?
Well, I didn't want to obey the house rules. I mean, I wanted to do what I wanted to do, like I said. You know, I was my own boss, you know.
Boy, I'll tell you, that wasn't a good choice that you made then. Look where you could have been today. You could have been like these youngsters here in school. Look how they're happy. They seem happy anyway, and they're getting a nice education.
Yeah, but where did you go to sleep? How did you get food? If you didn't have a job, you didn't have anybody taking care of you, what did you do?
Oh, like I said, I joined the gang, and they let me sleep in a shack out in the dark, you know, and it leaked, too. On a rain can, it leaked. I got wet in my blanket, you know. That was kind of sad. And then I didn't have any food, so I started stealing things.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you eat?
Stealing is wrong, inmate Joe.
Yeah, I know that. I'm a good thief.
You're a what?
I'm a good thief. Well, except when I get caught.
Oh, but you did get caught, though, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, lots of times, you know.
Well, what kind of things did you steal there, inmate Joe?
What kind of things you think I took?
You took something that you could take down to the pawn shop and get it redeemed for big money?
You got it. I got anything I could get my hands on. Yeah, it was pretty good, you know. They used to call me Slick Joe, you know, Sticky Fingers Joe. And I stole hats, radios out of cars mostly, and sometimes I'd steal tires, you know, get money for that. And then my friends introduced me to some stuff that I wish I hadn't got introduced to. They call it marijuana.
Right. But now, your friends, were they really your friends that you have to do all the stealing, and when you got caught, did they come to the jail and try to bail you out?
Well, see, what I did, Tony and the Gruth, I hired them to watch my back, you know. And that's how you do it in the street, you know. You hire people to watch your back. Trouble was, they took my money that they didn't watch my back.
Uh-huh. So did you learn something from this?
Stealing is wrong, Inmate Joe.
Yeah, I know that, see, that's all I know how to do, McGruth. And I am a good thief, you know, except when I get caught.
Yeah, but do you realize if you had gone to school and learned a trade, you wouldn't have to go out and steal? And those friends that you had there, they could care less about you.
Well, I know that now.
Oh, well.
But I didn't know it then, you know, and that's kind of why we're here today, right?
Right, and I would hope to give the message to the youngsters here, right, McGruff? Right.
Yeah. So, what other things did you steal there, Inmate Joe?
Well, that was about it. Hats, jackets, shoes, lunch money.
Ooh, what else?
I used to steal things from kids on their books, you know, and then I'd charge them money to get their books back, their school.
Boy, that is bad. That's real bad. Right, McGruff? Right.
Stealing's wrong, Joe.
I know it's wrong, but like I said, I'm a good thief, except when I get caught.
You need to tell the kids to stay in school and to do their homework, Joe.
Yeah, kids, stay in school. Do your homework. Don't steal other people's work off your tater either, because then you don't learn how to do it yourself, and good grief. You might be an idiot. A what? You might be an idiot.
What?
You trying to say an idiot?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm an idiot.
Okay. Well, you know what? You can still go back to school, Joe.
No, I can't. It's too late for me. I can't.
Never too late. I read the paper where grandmothers and grandfathers are going to school and going to college and didn't get an education, where you have the opportunity. A lot of people don't have that opportunity.
Well, there's another problem there.
What's the other problem?
I hate school.
Ooh, you're not supposed to tell the kids that.
Well, I do. I hate school. I'd rather light up a cigarette.
Why don't you ask the kids if they hate school? Ask the kids if they hate school.
Joe, we're trying to get some sense into you here, you know. I want to tell you something, boys and girls. You can pay now or you can pay later.
Pay now or pay later? What are they buying here?
We're not buying anything, but I hope that we're getting some common sense here.
Well, what are you trying to say there, Deputy Dog?
I'm trying to say, Joe, that if your brains were dynamite, you wouldn't have enough explosives to blow your cotton-picking nose.
Ooh, that's a shot, wasn't it?
That was a low blow.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that you can pay now by staying in school, listening attentively in class like you are with our presentation today, doing your own homework and learning.
I hate school, though.
Or you could be like Inmate Joe here.
Good-looking fella. That's not so bad, is it? I even got a spacer in between my teeth. See there?
You know, Joe, I'm going to speak like for my great-grandfather, and these children's great-great-grandfather didn't have the opportunity to go to school. And today the opportunity is there, and you can learn everything. Look, I bet you these kids can use a computer. I can't even work a computer, and I got a high school education. Can you imagine the education they're getting? Don't you want to be smart like these kids here?
Yeah, I do that. I just don't want to have to do the work there in the gruth, because I'm lazy, you know.
You cannot get anything unless you work for it, right, McGruff? Right.
I think it's easier just to go out and steal.
Joe, look I'd have a battle of wits with him, you know, but I hate to fight an unarmed man.
Right.
Wait a minute, what are you picking on me? I got to tell you, I'm really a good thief, kids, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Except when I get caught.
Not very good. How many times you been arrested anyway for stealing things?
Oh, about 6 times, you know, and...
Well, what happens when people arrest you? I mean, let me back up. What happens when the owners catch you stealing things out of their car? What do?
Well, they sock me in the nose. How do you think I got my nose looking like it does? 6 times I got my nose dusted up and knocked out of the socket. Oh, it hurts getting your nose dusted.
if it hurts so much, McGruff, then maybe he should stop stealing things that don't belong to him.
Right. You know something? And you have a good nose just like mine. Jimmy the Ratty Ed Poison.
Yes. Joe, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead, Al. I'll give you an answer, too, there, Deathly Dog, McGruff, boys and girls, teachers, hey.
How long you been in and out of jail, anyway?
You always got to ask me the hard questions here. I got to think. I got to put my thinking cap on here.
You have the thinking cap in there?
Well, I got a little bit left there. I haven't used all my brain cells on drugs, you know. There's a couple left in there, you know.
That's another reason not to use drugs. Decrease those brain cells. Maybe we can. It's something I think you have a problem with, don't you?
Yeah, well, I'll give you an answer. I've been in 17 years.
Excuse me?
Yeah, I've been out of the jail 17 years.
17 years? That's a long time.
That's older than these kids are, huh? Anybody here 17? Any students?
Anybody here 17?
How many years you been in the detention center?
2 years in detention center and 15 years in the city jail.
And how did you like the city jail? I already told them what it was like. You want to repeat what I told them, what the city jail is like? How your mother comes in there and gives you a drink of milk at night and tucks you in and gives you a cookie and gives you a telephone to talk to, a cell phone. You can talk to your friends and all that stuff.
That's not how it is in the jail. Yeah, you get the deputies that wake you up at 3:30 in the morning. 3:30 in the morning. Can you imagine that? It's dark out there, you know. And they want to serve you breakfast, you know. I just want to roll over there and go to sleep, you know.
Breakfast at 3:30 in the morning, McGruff, right?
That's because they got to go to court in the morning, and you got to eat your grub before you go to court, or you don't get to eat any grub, and you don't want to go to court with no grub because then you're hungry.
I see. Well, do you ask the youngsters if they'd like to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and have breakfast to go to court at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock?
You like to get up at 3:30 in the morning?
Hey, it's like camping, you know.
No, we don't want to go that kind of camping. That's okay. We'll pass on that. So, jail is not fun, is it? Then why do you keep going back there?
Because I keep stealing things.
Joe, don't steal. You know, that's sad that he's wasted all those years going in and out of jail. And now, I mean, what have you accomplished in your life?
Let me think here. I know I accomplished something. I can't think of anything, though.
And that's it, huh? Well, you guys really do have quite a following with the. How many kids were in this group that you were talking to?
50 kids in this particular group.
Oh, yeah?
Our groups vary, Dave. Sometimes, we have small groups, and sometimes we have as many as 400.
Wow.
But we're flexible. Whatever the school wants, we try to accommodate them.
You're going to get the message out one way or the other then, huh?
And Tony's a great partner, and he was honored yesterday by the VFW as the Citizen of the Year.
I'm looking at the
all
plaque
his,
right here.
community
Citizen of the Year, Anthony Tony Scaranjola. Many thanks for the many hours of volunteerism to children and citizens of Hampton Roads by VFW Post 4809. That's a pretty plaque.
Thank you, Dave.
And I was looking at something else while the tape was running just now. And this is impressive also. This is the United States Member of Congress Certificate of Special Recognition, Congressional Recognition, presented to Anthony J. Scaranjola in recognition of outstanding and invaluable service to the community. This is dated March 19th. That's yesterday.
Right.
I'll be darned.
Right.
Signed by Owen Pickett.
Right.
I'll be darned.
Right.
Well, Tony, you and Deputy Bob have been partners for over 6 years now. Tell our listeners, how did you meet?
You tell them, Bob.
We did a benefit at the Norfolk Neighborhood Crime Prevention Coalition, and Tony came up to me and introduced himself, and about 2 months later, this was in January of 1994, and we started getting into the schools and been on a go ever since.
Right. We're both retired Navy chiefs. We're both chaplain's assistants back in those days, except I'm 30 years older than he. I'm like his dad, But
you guys have great chemistry together.
Yeah, when I tell you, we're reaching the kids. Truthfully, it feels good to have the kids follow you around. They love us to pieces.
Uh-huh. Oh, Deputy Bob, how long have you been a ventriloquist, and how did you become one?
I've been one for about 21 years, Dave, and I got interested in ventriloquism from watching Paul Winchell years ago when I was 8 years old.
I remember him.
And Mortimer Snerd and Jerry Mahoney.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any resources to learn back in those days, though, so it wasn't until I was about 27 that I learned how to become a ventriloquist. And it was an answer to prayer. I had prayed and asked God to give me something to share my faith with, and one thing led to another, and I got this teaching tape, and I self-taught myself.
Well, I'll be darned. And it looks like you're very effective at what you do here.
And we believe that children act on things that they see and hear, and unfortunately they pick up a lot of negatives from the electronic media with the movies and the television.
Mm-hmm.
And the criminologists tell us that before the average child finishes 5th grade, they've seen 8,000 murders and 100,000 acts of violence, and then we wonder why they go out and do something violent.
You know, that's an excellent point, because my wife and I are just the two of us at home. And I sat one night and counted the number of murders and things on TV. It's an unbelievable amount.
Mm.
In fact, I think some of the students probably just think it's a way of life. And I don't even think it's the real... What was that first grader that killed somebody the other day?
Yeah.
And they said he was in court, and he didn't even look like he had, wasn't showing remorse. He didn't really realize what he'd done, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And, in the movies, you shoot somebody, you blow them away, and tomorrow they're okay again.
Right.
That's not real life.
You're right.
Yeah.
Now, we're convincing them not to take anything into schools where they could hurt their fellow students, like a knife, a nail, especially a gun.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for it.
Bob, this is an interesting brochure you've got here. I like it because it has more pictures than words, but I can look at the pictures real good. See you and three dummies around you. No, Tony's not one of them.
Tony's in there, though.
Oh yeah, I see him on the inside page here.
All right, I can read it.
Tell me about the brochure, the background on it.
Well, it helps people to remember the resource that's available through the Norfolk Sheriff's Office, the Choices program that Sheriff McCabe has sponsored for about 6.5 years now. And we also have a coloring book that we bring to the schools so the kids have a visual souvenir of what we talked about, so they can hopefully remember the lesson that we present to them. But really the idea with the flyer, Dave, is for the teachers so that they can put it in their file, because they do a tremendous job working for our kids, and they have a lot of paperwork, and we want them to remember that we're still out here trying to take that bite out of crime that Tony talks about. And if they see our little flyer, everything, it's a trifold, so everything is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the visual aids we use with McGruff and ventriloquist dummies, and the feedback comments from the educators, and also a phone number on there.
Well, let me read some things that you didn't say here. I'm just looking on the back of the brochure. Educators say, this is a wonderful program, and we appreciate everything you do for our school children. This is from a teacher in Norfolk. Another one here, Deputy Bob used creativity and enthusiasm to educate the children. This is from an academy here locally. It's just praise after praise after praise on what you're doing here. So keep up the good work. Come on, Tony, talk to me.
Well, what we like the best is when we're done, the kids follow us out to our vehicles, and they, of course, they want to go with us, but we can't take them with us. But I believe we wouldn't have any trouble being like the Pied Pipers, and they would follow us around. No, this is it. And the greatest reward for all this is that when I came down ill for 2 years with cancer, the kids came to my front door with cards, letters, and prayers that you just can't go. You've got to stay right with us. And so that's why McGruff is that popular, and we have little stickers we give them. It says Junior Crime Fighters. But I have coloring book too from the McGruff days. I'm running out of them, but if I can get them together, I'll give them to the kids. But the big thing is with Bob and I both, as I said, I'm starting a new church, and Bob one day will be my pastor, I hope, in this. And we're working with the youngsters because we love kids.
Well, there's one thing that you and I know, because I've known Tony for quite a while, but I just want you to know that you're listening to the original McGruff. Before you go all the way back to the beginning of McGruff, this man started. It doesn't matter who you hear, wherever you are in the country, it started with Tony.
That's my original voice on that. And from today, a month from today, I'll be 80 years young.
Young, right.
And he's got the best McGruff voice I've ever heard.
Yes, he does. Well, gentlemen, I thank you for being here today, and keep up the good work. I hope you put in another 80 years, Tony.
Well, I can't wait that long. I only got 2 changes of underwear.
That was Tony and Deputy Bob, and they're just delightful, delightful people. I tried to record the news while this was going on. I don't know if it's going to come through okay or not, but let me push the button and see if we have CNN News that I recorded on cassette for you. I hope it's here.